Welcome back. It's Sue Gait, and today we're going to do some fabric painting, but we are going to use the tulip puff paint. So I'm going to show you step by step how we're going to go about and use this product. This is going to give you a three-dimensional look to your fabric painting. You can buy it in small bottles or big bottles, and you can buy them in all different colors, and you can usually get them in the Michael's store. This one is a 4 fluid ounce, and it's just white puffy paint. So that's what you're going to need. You're going to need a stylus. I like to use one with a big round ball if I'm tracing onto fabric. This is just an apron, a black apron that I got from the dollar store. And I'm going to place my white carbon over the top. I'm going to place this picture of a tulip. And I'm just going to come along and I'm going to trace, push hard, and that's why I like to use the larger ball instead of the finer one, because it's not going to cut through the paper. Normally we transfer our patterns right onto transfer paper and then go ahead, but on this I use the paper because if I don't, it's going to cut as I go and come along here. So all I'm doing is outlining. I'm going to come in here and put the leaf. Pretty simple. Put in my flip. Flip it up. There it is. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Basic outline, not rocket science. Put this out of the way. Now I'm going to take my puff paint, and I suggest that when you have your bottles that you shake them, but also shake it so it's upside down and getting all the air bubbles out. Now this one's almost empty. I might be able to get away with using this, but we might hear a few little air bubble noises, and if that's the case, not a big deal. You are going to place your tip on the fabric and lay it nice and thick. The nice thing with puff paint is the thicker you put it on, the puffier it gets after. So how puff paint works, it's funny I can't talk and do fine work at the same time, is when this is dry 24 hours from now, you're going to take a steam iron to it. And what the steam iron is going to do, the more you steam, the puffier it will get. So I'm just going to take a little tiny angle brush, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to pull this down. So this is called lace icing or mudding, because some of you have seen there is an artist out there that does mud. She has a product called Mud. I use a product called, I like to push them out a bit. Yes, there's an artist out there and she has a product and it's called Shannon B's Dimensional Paste. It'll give you the same look as Mud. Mud and Shannon B's Dimensional Paste are two completely different things. So don't think that you're buying the same product from two different people, because you're not. Now I'm going to come back, and I'm not really liking how this turned out, so I'm going to come back and add some more there. And then just come back again, pulling lines. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. When I'm going away, I'm just wiping off the excess onto my brush. I'm going to come here, I'm going to pull a line and another line. Then I'm just going to fill in the center. And I'm just going to tap this to fill it in. Again, wipe off the clumps off my brush. I'm going to come back and I'm going to outline my petal. Now that was an air bubble. Puff paint's really good if you want to put some traction on the bottom of a pair of slippers, on a pair of child socks, on a pair of senior citizen socks. Puff paint's really good for that. Want to put some traction on a pair of gardening gloves that you have. All I'm doing is I'm just pulling this down. Same thing in here into the flip, pulling it in. Here I'm pulling it in just a little bit. Here I'm just going to fill in my center. That's the stem of the tulip. I'm going to come back and make this a little bit rounder, I think. And I'm going to come back in here, touch and pull. That's how you use puff paint. So, through the magic of videos, I have one that I did yesterday. It's going to look just a little different in design than this one. And here it is. Now if I hold this maybe sideways, you can see how 3D this is. When I run my hands over this, I can really feel it and you can see it. That's the fun part. So I get my fabric brushes, which I talked to you about on my other video on painting on fabric. They need to be a very, very stiff brush. I'm going to use a number 8 and I'm going to use a liner brush, which I'm going to pre-dampen. Get my water out of my brush. I'm using So Soft paints today, just like I used the other day. And here's the medium for the So Soft paint. You want to use the medium so it will make your paint soft and not stiffen really, really hard. You can use acrylic paints, but if you use acrylic paints, it does make your fabric seem to stay a little more stiff. So I'm putting out some yellow. I'm putting out some green, a darker green. I'm going to put out a lime green. I'm going to put out white. The white is a lot more runny than compared to the other colors, and I'm going to put out a red. So I'll show you my palette. That's what it looks like. I use press and seal onto a plastic plate. I love it. When I'm done, it's just a little tiny ball that goes into the environment, and it's reusable. So first thing I'm going to do is make sure everything's okay. Just flicking off anything. Here's a little boo-boo that kind of got stuck on there, but we can deal with that later. Maybe I can either pick it off or just put some black paint over the top. Okay, so I've got my fabric medium in this little tiny pretty little glass, all sitting together. Everything's on my palette. I'm picking up the fabric medium. I'm mixing it with my yellow paint, and I'm coming in here and I'm painting. You want the stiff brush, because if you don't use a stiff brush, and I really didn't want to go over the edge of that, but I did. By using a stiff brush, you get to scrub it into the fabric. So what I'm going to do is just come along, place all this yellow over the top. Might add a little bit of white in here. Yellow is a transparent color. So is white. But if you add them together, it makes it a little bit more opaque. So I'm liking the way this is going so far. I'm just going along right over top of the puff paint, filling in my black apron. We'll do one tulip at a time. To correct the mistake, which I did here, you probably can't see it, but I can go back when this is totally dry, add some more puff paint, let it dry, and then come back and put a little bit more of the yellow over the top, and you won't even know it was done. Famous painter out there always says happy accidents. Oh, I'm just scrubbing. Don't know if you can hear that, but that's exactly what I'm doing. Just scrubbing that in. Some places I might make this a little bit of darker yellow instead of the paler because of the white. Underneath my board, I always stretch my fabric, whatever I'm painting, over top of a board. I like to use cardboard or something like that. You don't have to run out and buy the shirt boards. Just a piece of plain Bristol board will do the same thing. What it's doing is it's helping to absorb the paint that's bleeding through the fabric in the back. So again, scrubbing in the paint. Fabric has the fibers in it, and we want to fill all those fibers. Same thing as canvas. Canvas has fibers in it as well. Make a little bit darker yellow right here. Need some more yellow. So far, so good. If you wanted to, you could let this dry or take your blow dryer and dry it. But by the time I get all this base coated in, I should be pretty good to go. I hope you're enjoying the videos that I've been putting out there. I've got all different ones. And if there's something out there that you haven't seen that you would like to see, or if you have any questions on the videos that I currently have out there, please feel free to email me at 4greenthumbs, and that's FORGREENThumbs@gmail.com. Visit my website for a class. This leaf, because this is nice and bright, we're going to go into lime green. Oh, nice. Oh, I'm liking this. Looks very springy. Sure is a beautiful day out there today. I'm going to make the leaf this color, but I'm going to make the stems darker. I'm sorry that the phone's ringing, but we're just going to let it go ahead and ring. Remember to scrub it into your fabric. Some people will use an embroidery hoop to stretch their piece of fabric across. I use the large tapes, clips that you use for paper, clothespins, anything that's really secure. I've never tried using tape on it, like an actual tape, a painter's tape or masking tape. I don't know if that would be secure enough for my liking, so I would just probably stick with something that's got a lot of spring to it and a lot of holding action. So there's our leaf. Wipe off my brush, and I'm going to come into the darker for the stems, because I can come back after when this is dry and they will be getting highlights. I really hope that you can see how dimensional and 3D looking this is. Be a fun project to do with children. You know, take an image out of a coloring book, let them trace it onto a t-shirt, and they can put the puff paint on. And when it was dry, you could iron it for them. Now, I don't know how well this is going to stand up for washing purposes, but what I will do is I will try it, and I'll let you know what my results are. Let me see if it says anything on the bottle. Again, it's pre-wash your fabric. No fabric softener. Shake the bottle well, hold it upright, and squeeze. Let dry. It says flat for 4 hours. It depends on how thick you have this on. Fabric can be washed. Turn it inside out after 72 hours. So there you go. See, we learn something new every day. Okay, I'm going to come back with my yellow and maybe get these edges just a little more yellow, less white showing. And add some more yellow onto the black. On the puff paint part, it covers very well. But on the black fabric, it's being a little stubborn. See by adding the white how much easier it is to fill in? So much easier. This one here that I'm pointing to is just plain yellow. But see what's happened now that I've added the white? Here, I really don't want to see this that dark. A little bit is okay. Would add like a shadow effect. Rinsing out my brush. I'm going to come back with some dark green. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to pull it in. Then I'm wiping on a paper towel, picking up more dark green. Touch, pull. Back on a paper towel. I'm going to add some more of this lighter green in here. Picking up fully load dark green, touch, pull, touch, pull. It's giving you striations. And always think of direction when you paint. This is our flip So this is going to be fairly dark. I'm going to put this in very thick. Make sure I try to get along here. Perfect. Always wipe your brush in between because you're always going to be picking up colors. And you don't want to be picking up, you don't want your brush to become mucky. I might come in here with a little bit of white. Keep wiping. When you don't see me, that's what I'm doing. I'm thinking direction here. Notice how it's going this way. Come back with a little bit more of the dark, I think. I'm not liking there's too much white. Just going to get my blow dryer and blow dry the petals of the tulip. Might be a little noisy, sorry. Okay, I'm going to come back on this leaf because I'm really not too happy with what's happening here. I'm going to let it dry for a few minutes. I'm going to come back to my yellow. I'm going to pick up my white and my yellow, and I want to get this darker. Right now it doesn't look like too much, but we're getting there. I'm just adding more color, pulling it through, leaving it kind of streaky looking. And I think we're ready for our next step. I'm going to take my script liner and I'm going into straight red paint. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here and I'm just going to pull up some of the red. This is pretty simple. If you get a different color on your brush, if your paint's not quite dry, make sure that you wipe it off on your paper towel. That's very, very, very important. So in here we're going to put lots of red. As I go away, I'm wiping on my paper towel. A little bit of red here. A little bit up here. Easiest way to use a script liner is to stay right up on the tip. I'm going to come in here, put lots of red. You can wiggle these. Some are longer, some are shorter. Some start from the top, come down. Over here. Rinsing my brush, more red. You don't have to paint this like this. I mean, you can take any pattern that you want. That's what I said in my other video. Any pattern will do. Pull some of these down from there. This is more of a fun thing to do. It's not really realistic. When I paint, I like to make things as realistic as I can. This is not as realistic as I would like it to be, but like I say, it's fun. Tulip leaves don't usually have veins in it like this, but I just thought that this would be kind of interesting to do. I'm back with my dark. Pulling some more dark green leaves. Streaks, I should say. Maybe a little bit of a line along here. And down along here. Add some more red in here, I think. little bit here. I'm a big flower person. That's why my email address is 4Green Thumbs. Spring is my favorite time of the year. To see how everything renews, becomes green again after a long, long cold winter. I'm up in Cambridge, Ontario, which is southwestern Ontario. For anybody that's wondering, that's in the US, that's watching this, or from around the world. Boy, somebody really wants to get a hold of me, don't they? There we go. I think we're going to call this a wrap. And if there's any questions that you have, please feel free to ask. I'm going to take a little tiny bit of black paint and correct this little tiny spot right here. There we go. Don't forget to sign your piece. Oh, I think we'll do it in the lime green. I just, got a hair on there. That's not going to work. I just loosely sketch my name on. I never date them, never have. I don't put my last name because sometimes doing your signature is not as easy as it looks. See, the fabric is sucking this up. So that's why I'm just coming in and making it there. So, I'm glad that you tuned in. Any questions, please email. Check out my other YouTube stations. And this is Sue Gait, calling it a wrap.